Always a pleasure to be joined by my next guest, and of course, it is the NEF Women's Flyweight Champion, Glory Watson. Glory, how are you?
I'm good, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm excited to have you on. There's some big news here that you're about to break, so I'm just going to give you the floor and let everyone know what's going on.
Yeah, so big news. I have accepted my professional debut in Florida. It'll be on March 27th. It's a big deal. Really excited about it.
Yeah, very cool. Again, March 27th for the Triton promotion in Florida. We'll dive into that here shortly. But first, it's been a very long time since anyone has seen you compete outside of Coach Young and your training partners, just, on the mats and training. So what has life been like for you, I guess, since your last fight, which is all the way back in November of 2019?
With COVID happening, everything has been pretty crazy. Training for me at the beginning of it was hit or miss. It all depended on what we could find for space and who we could find for partners. A little bit further in, we found a space that we were able to use, and we found a solid group of 5 of us maybe that we kind of switch around, and those are the only people I've been working with. One of my primary training partners is Aaron Lacey, and he's a lot bigger than I am, but I mean, you take what you can get.
That's good. I mean, you clearly have a great group of people around you that care about you and that are helping you succeed as you move forward to this professional debut, which everyone is really excited about. I want to ask, is one of the reasons why you're foregoing, your amateur career to go pro, is it because of the difficulties in actually finding a fight right now because of COVID? Or is this something that you pretty much had your mind set on, that you were going to turn pro regardless if you could find another amateur fight regionally or not?
It's something we've actually been planning on. I was set to make my pro debut with the NEF. When was it? April, February, and COVID hit, and we weren't able to have the event. It was postponed, and then eventually it was canceled. So it's been my intention since my last fight to make my pro debut.
Have you guys been looking at other promotions here in the area? I know there's, CFFC. There's quite a number of really good promotions here in the Northeast that would love to have someone like yourself compete for them. Has there been any other talks, or did Triton, the promotion that you guys kind of had your eyes set on?
We had a couple offers throughout the past year or so. None of them really were ideal fights, with being out and not having a huge training camp. So we kind of waited to see what we could find. And it was the beginning of the year, and we decided to reach out to different promotions, and Triton was the first promotion that came back with an opponent that we thought would be a good fit.
Gotcha. How difficult has it been to stay in fight shape throughout this pandemic? I mean, you hear everyone is basically, a lot of people are working from home, and people put on that COVID-19 or however you want to say it. So how hard has it been for you just to kind of stay at that level you're normally used to being at week to week?
So if you look at everyone either's got in fantastic shape since COVID, or they've gained weight. Most people haven't stayed the same. But for me, my schedule changed a little bit at the beginning, but after that, I was able to work a lot with Coach Young, pretty one-on-one, and doing my strength and conditioning on my own. So I didn't really miss out on too much.
Gotcha. That's good to hear. Well, your last fight, as I mentioned earlier, November of 2019, it was for the vacant strawweight title. Unfortunately, that was your only loss as an amateur to Kara Greenwell. We've talked personally here, but looking back at that fight now, Glory, what did you take from that setback?
Didn't really look at it as a setback, just my personal thing, I guess. But it was definitely a very difficult fight. She was a very game opponent. She came in ready, and the way everyone that I've talked to says, they're like, she was willing to die in the cage that night. And watching the fight, you could tell I relented, and there's no excuses that I can make. But for me, I just know that I wasn't in an ideal headspace in that fight. So to still go out there and put on a professional quality fight with Cara was amazing.
Definitely. Now, obviously, you are still the current flyweight champion for NEF, but you'll be vacating that once you turn pro. Tell me the differences that you noticed competing at strawweight versus flyweight.
It's a tough question. I've never even really thought about it. Because I've competed in so many weight classes, it is kind of difficult. My second fight was at 140, or 135, excuse me. And then I fought at 130, 125, and 115. Definitely the higher weight classes are a little bit stronger, and the smaller weight classes are usually a little bit faster. So it's an adjustment there, but working primarily with men, you get used to people being bigger and faster.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, as far as, what you're going to do to keep your weight in a certain range here moving forward, have you had to really dial in your diet and training specifically to keep your weight down? Is that something that you've really been focusing on as you turn to your pro career here?
I honestly am always a little bit crazy about my weight. Missing weight is terrifying for me. So I've already dialed in my diet. I already have my weight set at a point where I know I can make 115 smoothly and easily. So I'm just kind of taking it from there. And having right now, like I said, Aaron is my primary training partner, and him and I lift twice a week, and we're going to be adding cardio in, and then bring out the lifting and start putting in more cardio. So the weight is always on my mind, but I have not had a problem with it.
That's good. Well, you said before that you don't necessarily follow all of the fighters in the UFC. You don't know the names so much as like someone like myself. But I got to imagine you do watch from time to time. How much do you miss that active competition? Like, you must see it and just be like, man, I just wish I could get back in there and fight.
Yeah, every time I watch any sort of fight, I message coach, or the next time I see coach, say I want to fight so bad. I miss fighting so much. It is such a unique feeling that if you've never done it before, you have no idea what it's like. And when people used to say that to me, I was like, yeah, okay, like I've done cool stuff before, like I get it, but it is unlike anything you've ever imagined.
Yeah, well said. Now, this promotion, Triton, you're going to be going down to Florida. Do you know, I guess, what the protocols and everything that will be in place for you to get cleared to fight? I mean, are you going to have to test to clear a COVID test multiple times? Like, can you run us through that?
So there's not really anything solidified right now, with it being about 2 months out right now. So with the COVID precautions the way they are right now, I need to pass a negative COVID test 24 to 48 hours before weigh-ins.
Okay.
Really all we have in place, which I will be down in Florida by that point, so we'll be good to go.
What part of Florida will this be in?
It's in Plant City, which is right by Tampa. So, and I'm excited. Plant City has one of the best strawberry shortcake stands I've ever been to in my entire life.
Well, if you get a chance to go by Tom Brady's house, tell him I said hi. I'll give you a jersey to see if you can get signed for me, because as you know, my love for Tom Brady is pretty crazy.
I wouldn't be able to tell by the jerseys, but
yeah, right. Yeah, you'd have no clue. Obviously, Chris Young will be making the trip down to corner you. Anybody else planning on coming down to be there with you come fight night?
So Coach Young will be in my corner, as well as Aaron Lacey will also be in my corner. There's potential for possibly a third corner coming down, but we're kind of waiting to see everything that's going on. And I have a very large family, as anyone that follows me knows, and they are all coming down. I think we have at least 15 people coming down outside of my corner.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great support system.
Very cool. Now, we can't talk about the actual opponent's name just yet because the promotion hasn't made the official announcement, but she will be making her professional debut. How do you like this matchup? Do you feel like this is a very, very winnable one for you here to make your pro debut?
So I feel like it's a good matchup because her and I are very similar experience level. She's fought a little bit more recently than I have, but I have a couple more fights under my belt than she does. So it's going to be, I think it will be a really good matchup and a good entry for both of us into the professional rankings. Win or lose, it is a good fight for both of us.
Very good. Well, that gets all of us here in Maine and New England, for that matter, excited to see someone like yourself fighting against him, because it's been so long since we've seen any fights really in the state here. I think the closest place has been down at Mohegan Sun for Bellator. I mean, it's just been it's just been crazy this past year. So very happy to hear that you're making your pro debut and you have a date set for that. Glory, I really appreciate you making this announcement here with me. Obviously, we're going to talk again before the actual fight, so we'll dive into the specifics about your matchup. Before I let you go, I just want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media, and anyone you want to thank, please do so.
Yes, so obviously my Facebook is Glory Watson MMA, and my Instagram is Glory Watson MMA. Pretty basic, but it makes it easy to follow. So I have my sponsors. There are other ones that I have, but right now these are my primary sponsors that have stuck with me through all of this craziness. So I have Jen Moon, who does my massages. She's fantastic. I've used her since I first started fighting, and I cannot rant and rave about her enough. Monty Rand, photography. Will Cassio at Skull and Snake Tattoo in Southern Maine, fantastic. B&B Paving, Twin City Tire, which is Dave Matson. Titanium Canine with Jason Howe. Affleck, which is my stepdad. Sea Dog Cantina, which is actually Bert Falero, who was in Bangor, and now he is down in Florida. So that is the Sea Dog down in Florida. Tuffy Bear Furniture, Float 207, HCS Enterprise, Sleepwell, Farrer Carpentry, and of course, Coach Young at Young's MMA.
Well, you clearly have a lot of people that support you. No surprise there. Again, Glory, thank you for the time. Can't wait to talk to you again here soon and watch you make your pro debut.
Thank you so much, Ryan.